hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the Climate Change Hackathon, the grand finale. So a culmination of a long weekend. I'm sure all of the participants can say of like hard work. So if we go to the next slide. Just a recap on why we're holding a hackathon for people who are tuning into the grand finale. It's an opportunity to connect with the community, walk away with a new network of like-minded individuals, have fun and develop and flex your skills, or, think in new creative ways, and build great things that are, super useful for the community, and maybe continue your work after this weekend, inshallah. So if this is your first time attending a Somalis in Tech event, just a little bit about us and what we do. So we kind of have three aims: to empower, so support the upskilling of our community to increase the presence of our members at all levels across tech, connecting everyone, amplifying the presence of our community, collaborating with partner organizations and providing more opportunities for members, and representing, so providing the spaces and resources for members of the community, like the hackathon, to connect and collaborate. So if you're a member of a team and you want to campaign for yourselves, share your thoughts, share your campaign with the hashtag #SitHackathon. Any comments? And you can follow us on our socials and find our website down there below. Next slide. And then we're joined today by our panelist, Amal. Amal is an engineer, community organizer, podcaster, budding entrepreneur. And so she's currently a principal software engineer at Indigo, where she focuses on building global agricultural transportation software to annually save the planet millions in gallons of fuel. So after the teams present, Amal will share her commentary and her feedback on the hackathon team solutions. And now I'll pass it on to Adam.
So last year we held a hackathon which was primarily based on COVID-related solutions, tech COVID-related solutions, and alhamdulillah, we produced some amazing work that's still on YouTube. So go check that out if you haven't seen. So this year we decided to focus this hackathon on climate change. As you've seen on the news, climate change is everywhere. COP26 is happening next month, where global leaders are coming together to discuss new ways and new innovative approaches to tackling climate change. So we thought, as Somalis, as the Horn of Africa is disproportionately affected by climate change, it would be good to put our energy towards building climate change tech solutions. So firstly, just a general definition of what climate change is. So climate change refers to a large-scale, long-term shift in the planet's weather patterns and average temperatures. So this is a short clip by the UN migration team on the impact of climate change in the Horn of Africa.
Somalia has conflict for the last 30 years. People are fighting over resources. People are fighting due to tribal differences that leads them to seek a better life in other countries. Somalia is mostly pastoralist and farmers, and the pastoralists, they do move from one place to another in search of pasture for their animals. Their livelihood depends to the rain, depends to the livestock and agriculture. Around 8% of the land is semi-arid. Many people are now suffering from climate-related challenges, including floods, including cyclones, and recurring droughts. And many people might lose their livestock and crops due to climate change, and this may also lead to displacement and migration. Sometimes the country experiences 4 to 6 months or 8 months of drought,
and too intensive flooding. That one it leads people to experience a lot of challenges as they cannot predict on what comes next.
Also, climate-related conflicts may increase in the future due to the competition of grazing lands, natural resources, and also other depleted resources in the country. They assisted that people what they need, like food, shelter, education. We're going to win the human race through the support of humanitarian assistance, and also we're going to win through the resilience of Somali communities, the efforts of men and women who are working very hard in order to make the lives of Somali communities a better one.
Sorry if there was some technical issues with lagging on that, but hopefully that film kind of gives a good kind of image of what it looks like on the ground, the climate crisis, and the type of people it will be impacting. So in terms of a quick snapshot in terms of the types of climate challenges that we hope our tech solutions will address. So one is extreme weather events. So more than 30 climate-related hazards, including droughts and floods, have hit the country since 1990, and it's only increasing. So the key question here that we're trying to build a solution to is, how do we build resilience for the most vulnerable people against these extreme weather conditions before and during after the event? The key users and customers in this case would be the most vulnerable, which are pastoralists and internally displaced refugees. Another challenge is, how do we build a kind of a more sustainable future? Although Somali territories don't contribute as much to climate change as more developed countries, we still should be held more accountable, and currently government ministers are not doing enough. So more needs to be done on reducing dependency on coal and promoting the use of greener technologies, also to reduce waste, whether that's water waste or plastic waste, and to build more sustainable farming techniques. So the key question here is, how do we implement more sustainable practices for households and businesses without hindering the local economy? So the key users and customers here would be businesses and households. So let's kind of get the show on the road, and I know time is we've gone over a bit, but I think firstly, I think we wanted to say that this has kind of been one of our best hackathons that we've ever had. The teams have worked really, really hard in a short space of time. We've had a few dropouts, so people have been kind of taking on roles, taking on more responsibility, but the energy's been really good. Everyone's been kind of really positive, and yeah, we're excited to see what the teams have. So there are 5 teams, so team 1 will begin presenting first. We'll stop sharing the screen.
I just was curious, are the folks going to introduce the different members of the team?
Yeah, so they should, in their slide deck, they'll have kind of some images and stuff. So team 1.
Hi, I'm just having issues with, done, got it up.
Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. We are team 1. So the service that we have decided to work on is an SMS anti-food waste service for rural Somalia. So our team members are Naima, Abdurrahman Jama, Wilson, and Yasmin Yusuf. One of the questions that we've set out to solve is, how can we implement more sustainable practices for households and businesses without hindering the local economy? So what is Surplus? Surplus is an SMS web app designed specifically to reduce food waste, whilst ensuring that there's a community spirit to tackling the issue. The main objective of the app is to allow rural Somali farmers to give back to the needier locals through the web app. This gives farmers the ability to sustainably give away food and allows locals to sustain themselves and their families.
So in terms of
Philson's going to take over now.
Thank you. So in terms of researching, we really wanted to look at the literature and see what's already out there. We found that a lot of the literature was based around flooding and droughts and that, but we realized that there might be more to the story if we looked a little bit deeper. We found a survey by the Institute of Kenya, I think it was, that said that 30 households in the Nadid region found that 60% of the household waste was food waste. So we came to the conclusion that even though there's droughts and famines going on, food waste can still occur, but this is mostly due to infrastructure issues. Could I have the next slide, please? Another survey also concluded that there is issues with farmers not being able to produce crops for more reasons than just being able to. One issue that they had was there was over-dependency syndrome level happening with the farmers, where they're depending on food aid. So what we wanted to do was find a way to allow farmers to sort of regain their dignity, as well as addressing a grassroots issue.
So why this mission? So out of all the things that we could have chosen in terms of climate change, why food waste? So whilst we were conducting our research, it became clear that, you know, a lot of the research to do with climate change in Somalia was heavily focused on droughts and famines over the recent years. But we kind of wanted to have a different angle and aspect to looking at climate change and how it can be tackled from like a grassroots lens, in which locals and rural farmers can kind of play a central role in tackling the issue of food waste in rural areas. And what we found was the causes of food losses and waste in low-income countries were mainly connected to financial, managerial, and like technical limitations in aid harvesting techniques, storage and cooling, facilities and climate conditions, infrastructure, etc. So given that many smallholder farmers in developing countries live on the margins of food insecurity, a reduction in food losses could have an immediate and significant impact on their livelihoods. Another way that we also looked at it was from a DINIA perspective as well, given the fact that our target audience obviously are Somali farmers, and, you know, a lot of times Somali identity is kind of intrinsically linked with, you know, Islam, and a massive part of that is being able to give back to community and also not engaging in waste, especially food waste, because that's something that's particularly looked down on. So that was an angle which we thought could incentivize our users as well. So competitors, we had Ari Farm. So these are kind of indirect competitors because they're not doing anything directly similar to what we're doing. But Ari Farm is basically an app in which Somali farmers can kind of trade sheep, livestock with each other. And we also had another organization which was kind of helping farmers to kind of grow produce. The main goals that we had in mind for Surplus was to help reduce carbon emissions caused by food waste. So research states that about a third of all the world's food goes to waste, and producing, transporting, and letting that food rot releases 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gases. So that does have a massive impact to do with climate change. We also wanted to help rural farmers to give back to the community by giving away leftover produce, you know, allowing them to kind of take a stronger role in their community, and also providing a reliable, ethical, and regular service for vulnerable users. We had a thing whereby we thought there should be a prioritization of the service. What we don't want to do is just kind of make it a free-for-all. Like, we do want to particularly focus on the elderly, orphans, the disabled people. So we had a 2-hour concession in which the service is available to everyone, but these particular users get to have an advantage, a 2-hour concession, as opposed to everybody else. And I'm going to let AP take the reins.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I think everything that was sort of said by the team is like absolutely bang on. I think we basically wanted to spend the weekend trying to make something that could sort of you know, to really give it a go and to basically see if we could try and create something sort of quite impactful. We had a really good session on Friday where we were basically talking about, you know, how we're sort of coming at this, and essentially like the kind of the key takeaways here were basically, even though we didn't have access to users, how do we think about our users, and what do we know about the kind of lives that like people in rural Somalia might live? So low connectivity was kind of a huge one. So no huge like React applications that take a long time to load. So we actually, as a result of that, ended up going for a kind of an SMS approach, because we know that like SMS constitutes like a huge part of people's lives. It's how they send money. But also like we also like did read some research that said that connectivity was sparse in certain places. I think Hormuz is one of the biggest like infrastructure builders in the region, but essentially there are even like some areas that they don't have cell towers at. So you're going to have to, you know, we wanted to kind of design something that when they interact with it, almost like we've got some conception of the conversation that we're having with them, and then later on they could sort of reconnect to kind of the service so that we keep track of what's happening. And then the other thing was sort of like low tech knowledge. So this is like, so nothing that sort of something that's really simple, quite conversational, nothing sort of clever AI thing, but rather just like basic instructions, yes or no instructions. So those are the kind of like the broad sort of strokes that we went with. I can show you guys how we're doing for time, Adam.
We've got about 5 to 6 minutes.
Okay, cool. So I'll just show you guys some of the kind of the main sort of like data structures. It's primarily backend driven. It's got very little sort of like front end aspect. So and it's sort of connected via a webhook, kind of a Twilio sort of webhook. Essentially, you kind of send text messages back and forth, and it hits an API that we sort of set up. So let me just share my screen. I think I have to be given permission. Yeah, thank you.
Whilst AP is loading it up, I just wanted to add as well, a central part of Surplus as well was trying to create a dignified service as well. So what we didn't want to do is to create a service in which it's like a quasi sort of NGO. We did want to just make sure that it was something in which there was kind of that limited kind of aspect in which there is the whole hierarchical thing. It was just, yeah, so we thought that this would be the best way to make sure that service can maintain their dignity whilst receiving support.
Yeah. So I'll just show you guys some of the kind of the sort of data structures. I'm sort of just using kind of a boilerplate Django sort of admin site. So just rather than building anything clever from scratch, essentially like you've got there are 3 kind of like key entities. The first is like kind of types of users. So, you know, providers, which are sort of like people who sign up to the service with the intention of like donating something. It's unclear to us. We've kind of made it specifically ambiguous because it's unclear if they are selling these sort of goods that are kind of perishable or if they're sort of giving it away, but we sort of made that open-ended on purpose. And so you know, we collect like very simple things about you. We collect your phone number, you know, sort of your location, and sort of your name, the name of the entity. So this could be a house, it could be a Bakhara shop, like it could be a kind of a farm or anything. And then, and sort of the other user entity is a kind of a service user. This is someone who specifically signs up and almost like subscribes to the kind of the local area that they're in. So you basically say, hi, my name is Bob. This is where I live. This is my first and last name. Give me, you know, send me text messages when a kind of a local person is giving something away. Now, the thing with this though, we ended up like having quite interesting conversations about, because you don't want to, just because you don't want to kind of do it on a first come first serve basis, even though you do want to kind of have that kind of like sort of fairness. Sometimes like people don't have access, aren't as well connected. Some people, not everyone has the privilege of essentially like always having their phone on them. So we basically created a kind of there is this concept of an application, and essentially when a new giveaway gets created, you basically get a text message. So I will demonstrate that to you guys now. So I'm essentially just going to go and create a new giveaway, and a giveaway is basically just like a bundle of like stuff that a provider will create. So this giveaway will be, suppose it was like 3 units, and which is like 3 boxes or something, and say like the weight was like 5 kilos, and I'll go for my favorite Somali word, yanyo. For those of you not in the inn, it means tomato, and I think it's hilarious. So I'm just going to say, so this is what a provider would basically do, and I'm just going to save that. Let me just save that. Yeah. I'm just going to save that. Now, what I expect, because I know about this provider lives within 3 kilometers of me, so I expect that I would get a text message. And I've just gotten a text message, and it says, "Wahad heli karta hal," and then it did some like string interpolation stuff, which we need to figure out. But it says something like "shan something or yanyo so ha hadad," right? Like it's just like a kind of a very basic description. Do you want this? Yes or no? So you can see that like currently, let me just delete this. We'll show you what I mean.
Final minute, Abdul. Inshallah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so essentially what I will then do is that I'll just say yes, I do want the thing, and then that allows me to kind of come into the flow. And essentially, let me just type that. Autocorrect is trying to sabotage me. That allows me to come into the flow and it creates a kind of an application for me. And this application is a new application. And I expect that I'll be hearing from the service, and it will say to me, we need some more new information or whatever it is. The admin can basically decide what they want to do with the application, if it's queued or something like that. And then finally it goes confirmed, and they get the address. And it's that last step that means that like we take the stock out and they get the address. Let me hand it over to Yasmin.
Yeah. So me and Philson worked on user personas to kind of help us to understand more about our users. So we've got Haji, our farmer here, and then we've got Farhia here, who's our user. Haji, married farmer, wants to be able to give back to his community, wants to be able to, give away food instead of wasting it every other day. Has a massive tie to religion, wants to be able to give back sadaqah in any way that he can, and sees this as a way to give back and stop food waste. And we've got Farhia over here, single mother with 5 children between 0 to 10 years old, due to financial predicament and just struggles in general. She needs a service in which she can actually provide regular vegetation to her children at a fast, kind of reliable rate. So this service kind of allows her to do exactly that. Philson, I'm going to allow you to do the next slide.
We've just got you on mute, Philson.
Sorry about that, guys. So as AP sort of touched on, from a design perspective, it was really interesting to design for something that didn't have front end, basically. So we weren't designing for a phone screen. Well, we were for the registration and for the web page, but the whole experience was more SMS based. So that was really interesting. So coming up with this user flow, even though it looks quite simple, it was quite the challenge trying to mentally figure out how we were going to visualize it. For our team to understand, for us to understand the scope of making the project. So I think AP covered a lot of it, but I think what was really interesting from design perspective was how the two user flows split off from being a farmer and being a service user. And I quite liked designing with Yasmin, the yes, no recognitions and the cancel recognitions and how that sort of interacted from a UX perspective and how that went into the back end. Yeah. I'll hand over to
that's all.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.
Thank you, guys. And now we'll quickly go to Amal for some feedback.
Hey, hi everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. I have like a whole page of notes. So if you see me looking away and not paying attention, it's actually because I'm taking notes. But so first of all, thank you so much to the presenters and the organizers of this event. My name is Amal Hussein. I'm based in Massachusetts, first generation Somali. I was born in New York City, and I'm in my mid-30s, just to give you an example of how old I am. So not young like you guys, but I live in the Berkshires with my husband, and my husband is he's Korean American. I hear Korean men are all the rage in Somali communities these days. And his favorite Somali word is yanyo. So, you know, funny. And I also, for the record, did not watch K-pop, and total coincidence that I'm married to Korean. So anyways, just some notes. I just want to start out with the pros. First of all, just really clear branding and messaging. I really I think your intro slide was just beautiful. You know, the name of the app really kind of is just very self-explanatory. I thought it was really great that your team had time to do research. So there was very kind of research-driven storytelling, and, you know, really great job framing personas and creating a user flow. That's excellent. Like, this is really like almost very professional in the way that you guys went through your product methodology and like rollout. Excellent use of Figma. I've never really seen Figma used for slides in that way, so that's really great. I thought the product idea is pretty cool. Seems fairly beneficial to both sides. And I really like that you had 3 pillars of focus. You know, the simplicity, connectivity, low tech. I think you kind of did a good job of kind of catering to your users, and a really excellent job on the tech side of using open source tooling, not spending a lot of time rolling your own solutions, reinventing the wheel. So I think like using that Django admin panel, using Twilio, like, you know, using these great kind of off the shelf solutions to create that turnkey experience was like brilliant. So kudos. So on to my critiques. Well, I think, you know, the demo portion of this was a little long and a little unfocused. I really think, you know, you guys talked about Twilio and webhooks, and it seemed like there was something working with the phone, but ultimately, like in a hackathon, if you work on something that you're not showing on your demo screen, like you've wasted your time, right? So the strategy that I always tell people when working on a hackathon is to work backwards. So start with your demo. What do you actually want to demo? And then work backwards from there, right? So in general, like a good strategy for that is to pre-record your demo. So you can stop it and pause and explain if you need to. Also, another tactic is, you know, you can actually connect your phone to your screen to do a live demo as well. So just make sure that you're showing all the components, because again, you guys worked hard on it and you want to make sure that people see it, right? Because if you, and like, this is a hackathon, super biased, not real like scenario, but only thing that counts is your demo, right? So that's kind of my critique. And then I would say just, you know, we lost a little bit of the storytelling in the demo, and then it wasn't really clear to me like what the monetization strategy is, and just in general, like how do you stop people from gaming it, right? Like if you know that the farmers have food waste, what makes those people wait? Like, you know, like are they just going to wait until the farmer has something to give away, or are they going to stop becoming paying customers? The other thing was I didn't see any localization in your app, right? So there wasn't any Somali nas تعمل way. That's kind of right? So they don't speak English. So, you know, thinking about having a toggle option for Somali language, having that be the default, you know, things like that. Obviously, this is a hackathon. You guys did a phenomenal job. I'm just, you know, this is kind of like just general critique. And I have some maybe questions, but I don't know if we have time, so we can save that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Amal, thank you very much. The team are definitely taking notes. If we have more time at the end, we'll come to some questions, and then maybe we can have a little bit of time where the teams can get a bit more of your feedback in a bit more detail. But we love that. We love Team One. Amazing what you lot have done in that short amount of time. And thank you very much, Amal, for that feedback. That's amazing. Nice. So. Without further ado, then obviously Team One as well have the hardest job of going first. I hope that we need to go in a swift enough manner that the other teams can't capitalize on all the good advice that you've just given. So Team One, definitely, Team Two definitely don't. So Team Two, you're up. Show us what you've spent the weekend doing.
Okay. First of all, like, it's great hackathon. It's my first one that I'm doing, so it's been quite an interesting process and journey. So we came up with a product called the Gerd. So planting one Gerd at a time is like the cheesy tagline. And there's some funky transitions as well. So like a quick cap of the team, myself in product, Musa in design, and the developers were Farhiya, Mona Sumaya, and delivery was Mukhtar. So that was the team. And just right at the back, it's a web-based platform that enables users to offset their average annual carbon footprint emissions per year by planting equivalent amount of trees in East Africa. So that's a bit of a mouthful, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, you know, that's what we're offering to our users. And how we came across that is like, we've done some basic research, and the first part of it was that we found in our research there was like carbon emission disparities. So if you look at the top 3 carbon emitters globally, say China, EU, and the US, they contribute to 16 times more greenhouse gas than, like, say, the bottom 100 countries. And I've, you know, kind of put this in a sort of pie chart so you can see how much they contribute in comparison to everyone else. It's quite a bit. And then on the flip side, we also found in our research that, you know, there's a huge deforestation problem in Africa. It's one of the worst hit area, and its rate's about twice what the world rate is when it comes to deforestation. So it's a huge issue. And there's evidence as well, increasing evidence showing that, you know, deforestation can lead to things such as changes in rainfall, soil erosion, etc. So that's not really a good thing for Africa. And just interested sort of another piece of research that we found as well is, like, if you look at the size of trees covered in Somalia or the Somali region, it was around 146 kilohectares in 2010, and by 2020 it went down by 155. This is quite shocking, actually. So we've got sort of the links and references if anyone's interested in digging deeper into this. So yeah, so those are the 2 main kind of research that we come across. And so we tried to frame the problem. So we've identified the 2 distinct groups. The first is like the group that are causing a lot of damage with their carbon emission and they're contributing a lot to deforestation. And then the second group who, you know, their resources are being taken away from them and it's actually being used to create carbon emission. So we thought that kind of flipped on its head and said, well, what about if we reverse the direction of movement in which, you know, those who are creating a lot of carbon emission actually give back to countries that actually having resources taken away from them that is used to make the carbon emission to begin with. So like, that's how we kind of frame the problem and to sort of balance it out. And so, next slide. So our sort of basic solution is, as I mentioned earlier, a platform that allows individuals to offset their emission. Our product allows users to sort of self-identify with the kind of carbon footprint that they are based on their lifestyle activities. And then we allow the user to sort of understand, the carbon emission based on their activities, and we will represent that in terms of like number of trees cut. And then finally, we'll give them the opportunity to plant equal number of trees back in order to offset the carbon emission. So I think Musa is going to take over this slide.
So essentially going into our target audience, if you check the last point where people self-identify, so we kind of thought of 3 different like sizes that fit all. So there's the eco-friendly person who's essentially going to be somewhat of a vegan and someone who basically tries everything to make the planet better. And then there's the change makers. I guess those are they do less, so they might fly more, they might do some stuff here and there, but they're also close to the eco-friendly. And then there's that realizer, the person who basically has come to a realization that they need to do some sort of make some sort of change in their life, whether that's like eating less meat or anything like that. Those are essentially our target audiences, and they kind of fit perfectly with what we put into our product in the next slide. So in the next slide, you see the 3 profiles. You have Halima Thunberg, you have Abdi Attenborough, and you have Warsame Waste. And essentially these 3 profiles are like perfect. Like someone's going to identify in one of these 3. So for example, Halima Thunberg is someone who recycles, rides a bike, eats less meat, very eco-friendly, avoids plastic. Abdi Attenborough is someone who tries to recycle here and there, takes public transport. It doesn't count if you're broke and you can't afford a car, I'm joking. But it's someone who's just conscious in terms of what they're trying to do, or tries to be conscious, and tries to cut out plastic. And Warsame Waste essentially is someone who never recycles. You drive every day, you eat nothing but hilib, meat essentially. It's not eco-friendly and avoids anything. Like it just continues to has plastic. Sorry, it says avoids plastic, but this shouldn't. And those are the 3 sizes that fit all. So everyone on this call today, you fit somewhere here. You need to self-identify essentially. So then I want to pass it on to Farhi, who's going to be talking us through our tech stack and our things.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum everyone. So the tech stack that we used for this project was React and Material UI for the front end bit. We used Firebase for the back end. And we had some plans to use integrations to a carbon footprint API and Stripe, but that was outscoped from this project, but it's in the future plans. We also use JavaScript as a programming language and use Figma for design purposes. So I'm going to show you a demo of the MVP. So let me just exit and go to our app. So this is the app that we've created this weekend. Obviously, this is the MVP. So this is the first iteration of the project, but just to save us some time, I've pre-filled all of my details so that I can come inside, I can do my carbon footprint analysis. So I'll just sign up for this application. And I'll come to the page that Musa talked about just now. We have these 3 categories or profiles that I can choose which one that I fit in best. For demoing purposes, I'm not saying it's true, but I'll choose that I'm Halima Thunberg and see what kind of emissions and trees that I have to plant. So this is still in the works, but since I'm Halima Thunberg, my carbon emissions is 0.7 ton, and I need to plant 21 trees. Okay, so how do I do that? So we have set up a payment plan or a payment page where the user can input the information that we need. I'm just gonna type in some random numbers here. And I promise it's not my real bank details. Oh, it's supposed to be the name, and this is the email. And I'll just say that I live in Puerto Rico for now. So here we'll get a result on how much my carbon emission has decreased and how many trees that I've contributed to. So this is the dashboard that the user is supposed to see every time they pay or log into the service, to see like a progress on how many trees have been planted and how much their carbon footprint has decreased, so we can take each other out. Yeah, so I'll just give it over to Musa, who's going to show us some more.
Yeah, just looking for that. So yeah, so what's next for GID? Essentially, we want to have a we spoke as a team at the beginning as well, what we needed for the MVP and what we wanted to do in the future. One of the things that we left behind was basically have the option to pay in installments, like Klarna or anything like that, essentially, where you say you have to pay, say you're some of the worst and you have to pay, like you have to do a lot of trees, you have planted a lot of trees, you want to have that kind of option to basically kind of spread that apart, or you might be put off the idea of making the planet a better place. We also want to have like more specific abilities to capture what you're actually doing your day to day. So not like a really three sizes fit all. We want to have like an ability to be like, okay, look, this is what I do, and you know, you can name me accordingly. And we want to actually have a visual representation of the trees that you contributed. Since the trees are going to be planted in the East Africa region, we want to actually show exactly where it's planted. So in the region, so maybe like Google Maps and showing exactly where the trees are being planted, and have some sort of like ability to show people that, so they can feel more motivated and more a part of the system, I guess. So next slide, please. So just to really take us to the end, this is something that I came across. I don't know when it came out, but I seen it and I read it of an article about a couple in Brazil, and they planted 2 million trees. This is like a genuine, the pictures from Google Maps and a picture side by side showing you what the difference is that you can make and if this is a couple, really, like it's not even a lot of people. So so this is 2000, they started off, and this is 2012 now. They've planted 2 million trees, which is ridiculous to even think about, but it's even more ridiculous when you have a visual representation showing you the difference that you can make as an individual, as a couple, or as a nation. So going over to the next slide, planting 1 gig at a time makes a massive difference, and I feel that's a great way to end it. And that is all. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Mohammed. So we'll go to Amal now.
Hey folks, again, really great job. I'm just so impressed at what you all have been able to do in such a short amount of time, like telling a nice cohesive story from end to end. It's just great. So again, we'll start with the positive and then I'll just go with my feedback that's a little more maybe constructive. So again, really great slides and branding. I love that all the research that went into this is part of your storytelling. It was just really great to have like a focus on carbon sequestration and just in general, like carbon emissions. It's a very hot problem right now. And even my own company, Indigo, like we have like world's largest carbon sequestration like program. And we just bought a company that does similar things. And so it's a very hot topic right now. A lot of people are trying to figure it out. So good job on striking a hot problem. I think it was really good, smart positioning, like your framing around trying to tackle this from the lens of emerging markets that are like low carbon emitters, right? So establishing that relationship with high carbon emitters, I think that was very good framing. The personas were great, it's very clear. And then, I really, in terms of the presentation, I really enjoyed that you shared your tech stack in detail. And you also did a really good job, I think, of identifying what's out of scope, right? So I think that's great to show like, hey, if we had the time, we do all these other things. And again, you're in terms of design, very clean, simple, and minimalist, and it was great. So in terms of like constructive feedback, I think your accessibility, like I saw some green on black, right? So you have to really think hard about accessibility and like making sure that your color contrasts are like strong enough for people who have like poor vision, even myself, like I had a tough time reading that. Again, same thing as the other team. Like I didn't see anything for like localization support or thinking about your customers that are likely not native English speakers, right? I also, what was missing for me was like, there wasn't a landing page or a welcome, or there was nothing in the app itself that talked about the app, right? So you had beautiful slides. We just need to kind of port that information onto your app next time. You can even just go through that. Instead of using your slides, you can just show it in the app next time. So that's another way to just kind of polish your experience. The other thing is not really clear to me, like that it wasn't clear like how the carbon measurement worked, or like how the data entry verification worked, like the full cycle was unclear to me. And then also the monetization plan. So similar to the other team, how are you guys making money off of this? Because ain't nobody working for free, right? So pay yourself first. So how are you going to pay yourselves? And then lastly, there wasn't it wasn't mobile friendly. So this app, and this critique also goes to the other team as well. Sorry, I didn't share that, but it looked like this was built for desktops, right? So it's perfectly fine to use web technologies. And I advise you to actually build a web app first before a mobile app, but you have to make sure it's good on a tiny screen, right? So you can demo your app just like with a shrunken screen. But again, you just want to make sure that you're being true to your personas, because they're not on a 16-inch MacBook, right? They're on a low-grade mobile device. So that's the stuff you have to think about as well. But anyways, that's it. You guys did a really great job otherwise.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Amal, really appreciate that. And yeah, the accessibility is a good spot and something you should always take into mind. And there's quite a few like Google Chrome extensions nowadays as well that you can use, and it will let you know accessibility wise how you're doing, like color contrasting being one of them. So yeah, amazing, but great work, team 2. Great to see that you're tackling such a huge problem, like very underrated. But I like the fact that you mentioned as well all the impacts that could help with like droughts, etc. So trees, it make a big difference. So I guess that's what you ended on. Awesome. So we're now gonna go on to team 3 to hear about your problem and your solution. And you've had the benefit of hearing from 2 other teams, so hopefully looking forward to seeing what you've come up with.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to share my screen in a moment. Bear with me.
Wait, is that Jamal?
Yeah.
What up?
This is like cheating. You shouldn't be allowed on this hackathon, okay?
Please, we needed him. Don't be mean.
Jamal also has pedigree from the last hackathon. Amazing solution his team came up with. So yeah, let's be awed.
Okay, I'm trying to see how to. Oh, this is a bit annoying. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your full screen.
Okay, cool. So good evening, everyone. We are team 3, and I would like to introduce you to our application Shimber. Before I go into the details of what our app does, let's talk about the problem it solves. So the problem at hand is how we can support the most vulnerable people against extreme weather conditions. Okay, for context, imagine we have a pastoralist named Ali. He lives in a remote area. How can we notify Ali about an incoming flood while he's grazing the land far away? We can't, unless we have hindsight. Well, Shimber uses technology that can send SMS text to notify him and every person with a phone number that has the Somali dialing code about an incoming flood. Somalia has really good internet coverage and cell phone coverage, even more than landline. This is because we are very close to the ocean. We have the largest coastline, and we use the submarine, internet cables. That means that you can use the internet or send a text from like the middle of the desert. Before I move on, okay. Shimber utilizes this coverage to be able to notify users about severe and extreme climate. Severe and extreme weather. Currently, there's no standard way for the government to notify the citizens about extreme weather in real time. Shimber is also able to support a notification system using high throughput data when there is a day connection, and full throughput SMS when there is not. This means that users can always be reliant on receiving messages from our systems. Okay, let's go to problem 2. Say we were successful in notifying Ali and his other pastoralist friends that there is extreme weather that will affect their safety, lifestyle, and income. So they moved to the nearest city for shelter. Most pastoralists and climate refugees try to seek refuge in the nearest city centers. This can be daunting because Ali knows little about the area he's going to and is in need of information about what to do next. In his possession is his livestock and mobile phone. However, with limited digital literacy and network capability, Ali can't just put up a poll on Instagram or sift through TripAdvisor for places to go. But what he can do is send and receive SMS texts. So how can Shinber help him? What if Ali could connect to locals to gain access to information he needs while optimizing one of the cheapest mobile data rates in Africa? Shinber provides the ability to allow users to subscribe to receive messages for certain topics, as well as creating groups that will broadcast SMS messages to the users that are subscribed. Okay, I meant to show this beforehand, but I was going to say, let's check up on our pastoralist friend, Ali. It seems that Ali's lost his camel. How unfortunate. However, as I stated before about subscribing to certain topics, SMS topics, it turns out Shinber has a SMS topic that Ali can subscribe to, as well as send messages to in regards to lost cattle within a certain area. That means that everyone in that contact list will be looking for that camel. Obviously, there'll be other topics that climate refugees will find useful to sign up to, as well as the rest of the population. But the main idea about it is being able to pass important information using this like low data and low tech. So when it comes to extreme weather or in extreme circumstances, you can be relying on our systems to pass on the message. I'm going to pass on to Jamal to talk about the features more in depth, as well as give a live demo. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
Yep.
Thank you.
So what Shinber really is a idea for a protocol that's unique to Africa, right? So in particular, Somalia is surrounded by really deep, fast underwater sea cables and tons of cell phone towers all around the coast, right? Which gives us a unique position, which is that we have faster mobile speeds than we do like in your home, like internet speeds, right? So you have access to mobile data in many places that you wouldn't in a lot of other countries. Secondly, we know that we're very ad hoc in how we organize, right? We don't organize in very traditional ways. We're ad hoc. We like to organize and meet and socialize. And as we know, like we're better than the FBI at finding out information, right? You just gotta ask one person in one city and you got everything that you need. So Shinber was really just like a protocol idea to make an adaptive burst data informer, aka the Abdi protocol, to make it so that you can send data and so that it can arrive at the people that you sent it to in the fastest way that they can receive it. In terms of like the demo, we put together a very simple app. I'm going to share the screen. Let me know when you guys can see the desktop with the simulator. Yep.
Yeah, Jamal can see that.
I'm going to send a text message out to everybody because there's a flood, there's a fire, there's a hurricane, there's just a whole bunch of stuff happening. So I'm going to send that text message out and the backend is going to intercept that, and push notifications aren't there just yet, but we can go fetch all of that information, right? We can go get all of those notifications, and if we weren't unable to get them via web connection, they would try to default to text messages and be read that way. In terms of technology stack, we chose to use Golang for the backend, Node.js as well. And for the front end, we built this in Flutter because it's always fun to use Flutter. Flutter is an amazing thing. You guys should use it more. It enabled us to, build an app that is on iPhone, Android, and web. So here's the web demo next to the, of course, the web. There you go. It's a little bit slower. Same information. So there you go. That's the Abdi protocol in Shimber. Any questions?
Thank you, Jamal. So we're going to Amal for question and feedback.
Cool. Thank you all. Excellent job. Again, I'm going to sound like a little bit like a robot. But my interesting story, my husband is a mobile engineer, and he's his Flutter has been his new stack for the past 2 years, and he's loves it. So I know all about Flutter. It's great. And it's also cross-platform, right? So that for those of you who are not aware, you can deploy to the App Store and the iOS Store with one code base, which is great. But anyway, so Shimber, first of all, excellent branding. I thought that was great, usage of a Somali word. Gate also had the same thing. That was great. But I think Shimber, it's a little more powerful because it's both the word and the action, come together for exactly what you're trying to do. So great job. I thought it was a really good problem that really needs a solution. It's really good leveraging of SMS to avoid using data, or also kind of in the absence of data, if there's outages. I thought that your actual presentation and your demo was very clear, really good storytelling and explanation of the problem. Best usage of camels I've seen in a long time. This Abdi protocol is dope, right? And I really think your vision of leveraging Somalia's and really Africa's, but Somalia in particular is mobile first infrastructure was a really good tactic as well. So I think you guys definitely nailed that. So my critique is kind of really around, potentially is this too much spam, right? If you're kind of creating an ability for users to just put anything out there, really, how are you vetting that, right? Because you guys know there's definitely a threshold for too much information, and that's very low today, right? In the age of the internet. And so how do you actually get your customers to pay attention to things that are really important? So I think that's just something you need to refine. Again, what's your monetization strategy? Who's paying for the SMSs? Are data plans in Somalia unlimited? Are they not? How are you working around that? And I'm also going to challenge you, why shouldn't this be a website, right? Why shouldn't this be a forum with potential push notifications or a mobile app? And so I'm just really curious, if you guys have thought through some of those things. But overall, great job and excellent branding. I think on branding alone, you definitely nailed it.
Amazing.
So much.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was going to say thank you very much, Amal, and Team 3 as well. Personally, I'm going to be in touch because the way those slides were set up, I might need a bit of that myself. So really like the design of that, and the fact that you showed us the demos gives it that extra notch. So
yeah, I agree. And actually, really quick, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mohammed. I'm sorry.
Sure.
How many people were in the team as well? Was it Mohammed and Jamal?
It was me, Jamal, and Mohammed.
And Mohammed. Which Mohammed?
Yeah. Mohammed Abdullahi.
Mohammed,
okay.
say hi.
I hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. He didn't speak, so hi.
Yeah.
Cool. Per team of 3. Nice.
No, that's really impressive. Cool. We're gonna go on to team 4 and hear what they've come up with. So the floor is yours, team 4.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right then. So Assalamu alaikum, Abdul Rasak, a member of Team 4. This is a presentation on our project called Somalia Trees, supporting our people and the climate by planting trees. This is an international collaboration by highly skilled Somalis from diverse backgrounds. Our team is made up of Zakaria from the United States, Abdul Majid from the United Kingdom, myself from the UK as well, Salma from Kenya, and boots on the ground, Mohammed from Somalia. There's 2 Mohammed Abdullahis, by the way. I thought I'd point that out. No coincidence there.
You're still on the first slide. I just wanted to share that. Brother Abdulrazak. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks. Running 2 slides here. So the problem, there are global carbon emissions that are causing extreme weathers, significant reduction in food sources, an increased competition for income from off-farm sources, and the pandemic itself has caused some massive inflation globally. And like a domino effect, it is causing food supply shortages in Somalia due to drought and other rare weather occurrences. As a consequence, there has been significant reductions in food and a rise in Somalia's dependency on imports during the times of crisis. And that's if they're lucky, to be honest. Those that can't import will compete for fewer resources. And you know what that means in the end, conflict and could potentially violence. Next slide, the data. So levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere are at record levels and is up to the global community, every country, to do its part to fight against the impending outcomes. Poverty and carbon emissions are arguably inversely proportional, and as Somalia strives to grow its economy, emissions will rise. Again, sadly, it's been noted that Somalia will be the least likely to survive changes of global warming, although we have the lowest emissions compared to other countries. The solution, our solution, also Team 2's, is to plant trees. Trees are the ultimate carbon capture and storage machines, like great carbon sinks. Woods and forests absorb atmospheric carbon and lock it up for centuries. It works like through the natural process of photosynthesis, plants and trees taking carbon dioxide and transform it into oxygen to be released in the environment, which is good, which is a positive impact. As well as that, moreover, it also has a positive impact on the economy by creating jobs for pastoralists. How it works: step 1, purchase a tree at a certain amount per month or a lump sum. Step 2, we partner with local farmers. Local farmers will plant and take care of the trees, and they will also own 100% of produce, which is an incentive. Step 3, keeping track. GPS will be used to track and locate trees, and the buyer will be kept up to date. You may be asking, has this idea been done before? It has. The Great Green Wall is an example of an African-led movement with an ambition to grow an 8,000-kilometer natural wonder of the world across the entire width of Africa. Unfortunately, Somalia is excluded from this, and one of our goals is to complete the wall. You can see Senegal having 12 million drought-resistant trees planted. It's Ethiopia 15, Niger 5. So progress is being made in other countries, and hopefully we'll be next. I'd like to pass this over to Zakaria and Mohammed Abdullahi to present a demo. So I'll stop sharing now. I'll stop sharing. There you go. Yeah, Zakaria and Abdullahi, can you share the screen?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Mohammed Abdullahi. I'm from Somalia. I'm currently in Mogadishu. And okay, so we were tackling this issue, and we had this solution for this problem. So, and let's go to the landing page. But before we do that, we have a join list, wait list. So that you can join the waiting list and you can sign up when the app is released and officially. So let's go to the landing page. So in the landing page, we have all of the information our app consists of. So you can see why planting trees, because it's Sadaqa Jariyah, it reduces the carbon emissions, it creates more jobs. Then you can scroll down and you will see and why it matters, and then you can go down and you can see, and we have a plan, 2 plans, but before that we have how it works. You can read that, and step 1, step 2, and they are simply laid down there. And finally we have 2 plans which you can sign up, and we have the monthly plan and the one-time payment plan. So whichever one you feel and okay with, you can go with that. And now, and for us to use the app, let's sign in. But you can sign in if you have an account. So let's create some account. So showcase that, and just write the email, the password. We want to show you that this is not made up before, so it's real. And use something. Okay. Now you click the sign up, and
1 second, I need to make sure my passwords match. We also have that built in. Sorry, it's kind of a pain.
Okay, so now we are logged in, and the first thing you see is the map. But before that, you see choose location, and if you scroll down, you see why it matters. And so we have a referral system which you can refer other friends you have, and you can share the Sadaqa Jariyah with them, and we can make that cycle which grows bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's pick a location, for example, and we have chosen some predefined locations to start with, and we can add even more in the future. So let's pick Abu Dhabi, and the moment you pick that location, you are taken to that place automatically. So you can zoom in and you can see the place even more clear. And so that's the place. So now, and let's plant a tree in Abu Dhabi. So you click the plant button, and as soon as you click it, you are asked to choose the type of the tree you want. So let's pick mango, and let's pick mango, and by now. So you might think it's going to stop here, but no, we connected it with Stripe. And can we buy it? Let's try. Let's try and buy this tree. Our first tree, Somalia. So you will create a Stripe account if you don't have, and this just fill in your information, zip account, and we click it. Just wait. The magic's happening now. And voila, congratulations, you have planted your first tree in Somalia. So Hambalio. So that's it. And you can, so we have a tab for my trees, which you can see the trees you have planted, their information, which you can see the farmer's contact number and the details, all of that. And we have, so we wanted to make this app even better. So we used some gamification, and gamification is to use what makes games interesting in non-game environments. So we added a leaderboard, which motivates our users to compete each other and even plant more trees, so they are ranked at the top. So yeah, so that's it. And I will pass you with Zakaria to add a few more details and wrap it up.
No, wonderful, great job, Mohammed. Yeah, Mohammed is very wonderful. He's currently in Somalia, and yeah, having someone on the ground was definitely a big part of the success of the team. We've been able to gather contacts as well from our connections that we have back home, as well as the individuals that are on the ground, like Mohammed. So we will go to the slide. So we have just finished our demo. So we'll go to next. So beyond trees, right? So so we want to also focus on, once we have this infrastructure in place, we want to focus on things that we can do and how we can drive impact beyond trees. Part of our plan is to expand the solution to help solve Somalia's lack of geolocation and map routing using trees. I think it's a pretty novel approach, and it's something I've been personally very passionate about for the past couple of months to almost a year and a half now. So we can place RFID tags on existing trees, and the ones that we plant, use them to mark GPS coordinates throughout Somalia. And then subsequently, we can use drones to map routes using computer vision algorithms. This will help organizations that are providing emergency relief quicker and solve the geolocation problem currently plagued by Somalia. So I guess another thing that we wanted to do is, once we have scenarios, right? So I guess the first one is kind of answered, but we also have answers for the subsequent ones. So like the first one is, once we have geolocation data for a tree, what else can we build? And that is the mapping and the routing would be the answer for that. Another question that we ask ourselves as far as the vision is, once we have a network of farmers throughout Somalia, what else can we build? And we have pretty cool answers for that we can share if anybody's interested. And also, once we have a network of people buying trees in Somalia, what else can we build and provide that investment opportunities to people back home to invest in their country and other people as well. So we have a contact us. If anybody's interested, you can contact us using somaliatrees@gmail.com. Also, I just wanted to say this is a live project. So anybody right now can go to somaliatrees.com, and then it's also mobile responsive, right? So it is password protected at this time, but hopefully we will be launching this, and we plan on working on this. Our ask is that, for anybody that's listening, is to connect, network. If anybody's interested to learn more, please feel free to send us contact us via the email address, somaliatrees@gmail.com. And that is the end of our pitch. Thank you guys so much for giving us the time.
Wow, guys, super impressive. As you can see in the comments, people are really bigging you guys up, and we're so happy to have you, Mohammed, here, someone on the ground representing Somalis in tech. So we'll go to Amal for some feedback.
All right, thanks everyone. So so how many people were on that team? Was it 4 people?
5.
5?
Someone wasn't able to make it today.
Okay, that's awesome. So yeah, I just wanted to, and how much of this was built over the weekend? Or is this just so I can, like, how much of this was built over the weekend? Was it like all of it, some of it?
So while all of it was built over the weekend, this is something that I've personally been very passionate about for a while. So I mean, a lot of it was built over the weekend. Yes.
Okay, that's excellent. Good. So just want to make sure I'm framing my feedback. So first of all, excellent job on lots of things. So first of all, I think it's great that you are kind of piggybacking off an existing movement. That's great in terms of getting your first 100 or 1,000 people to know who you are. Awesome job of, I think, getting a domain and URL and having it live, in the span of 2.5 days. That's incredible. Also really smart kind of password protecting it, keeping your brand a little bit in the secret while you're still building it. I think that's great. You don't want Google bots indexing your site too early, right? I love the landing page. Great job storytelling, and it's very clear what this project or company or product does. And it's clear to me that you have a monetization strategy, which is again, something that we haven't seen from any other team yet. And then really great job, I think, leveraging socialization and the network effect to kind of have leaderboards, and also really good usage, I think, of hardware on the ground that's fairly low cost hardware. But I also think you have a very easy no hardware option if you decide to go that route as well, which is really just using lat-long geocoordinates, and letting people use Google Earth to zoom into their tree or something. That's another thing you could do. So just overall, great demo, excellent app, very polished. I love the use of also, like, you shared contact info, like, you guys have really thought things through. So that's nice. I think in terms of my feedback, that's a little more constructive. I would say like the branding was a miss for me personally. Like it's too obvious, Somali trees, like it's poor SEO. Like if you Google that, there's 100 things that are already going to come up that exist. So just think about your branding and think about like SEO and having something that's going to be a little more unique to you. And again, just like everybody else, localization, really thinking about having that website support multiple languages, in particular of Somali. However, if it is targeted towards the international communities, supporting people back home, it makes sense that it's in English, but still like having a localization strategy is going to be important to that. And then, I think the verification process is a little mucky for me. Like, are people supposed to take a photo of the tree once it's planted? Like, how do you inform people? Like, how do you keep them engaged and inform people and let them know like things are still happening, or your tree has been planted or whatever, right? So I think like closing the gap on that cycle would be good. But again, given the time and everything, I think you guys really nailed it. So congratulations. And yeah. I have a question that I think I'm going to ask every team. So I'll tell you guys now. So just think about it. So you have time to think about it, which is, I want to know, like, if you had more time, what you would do, right? So
cool. So that's a question all teams should begin to think about, and Yula will answer that at the end as well. I just wanted to say, amazing the fact that you lot did this all in a weekend. I think I remember jumping into your call on a Friday and I was like getting a bubble tutorial. So love the incorporation of like no code tools, as well as your other the other things that you employed. So amazing, no code so good shout out for that right there, and shows what can be built in a very, very short amount of time. And as always, Amal, appreciate that feedback. I think it's definitely something the team will be taking on. So yeah, amazing that you lot did this in the short amount of time. And Mohammed Abdullahi as well, providing that local context, I think is always an asset to have in any team. So yeah. Okay, then we have got one team left, if I'm not mistaken. So we shall go over to team 5 we'll definitely share the no code tool. It's called bubble.io and bubble.io. But yeah, we're going to go over to the final team to show their work. And then after that, we'll be taking some votes via Slido to determine the winner. But team 5, here you go.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. How y'all doing?
Walaikum salam. All good.
Salam. All right, thank you for having us here. Personally, this is that I've taken part of Somali tech, so hopefully, we do well. My name's Amar, and I'm a representative of Team 5. Apart with me in the developing team is Mahad and Deqa, the designers are Iman and Nim'al, and the product manager is Suad. And we wanted to tackle on problem statement number 2, which is basically creating the app called So Ururi, English, come and collect, right?
Amar, sorry, I'm just gonna jump in. I was gonna say, I've been asking everyone to have their camera on, but I was gonna ask you if you can have your camera off, because it's just lagging a little bit. So maybe if you turn it off, it might help.
Sounds good. Is it good now?
It seems good so far. Let's try this.
Okay. So what is So Ururi, right? It is a mobile application dedicated to tackling the waste disposal issue that we have going on in Somalia. So our purpose is to reduce the amount of waste that is on our roads. In Somalia, we know that a lot of people don't have the proper techniques on disposing their trash and recyclables. People just toss it on the side of the road. People either toss it out while they're driving out of their cars or in the bajaj. So we tried to develop a simple and innovative solution to this so that we can reuse, recycle, and safely dispose waste in a very responsible manner. Just to give you a quick background, right? This is a global issue, as we all know, but it is very prominent within Somalia because of the reason. Waste is collected and dumped somewhere at a random location at a random landfill and then eventually burned, which in itself can have complications, right? And recycling in of itself is a foreign concept in Somalia. So there are some countries within Africa that try to tackle this issue. In 2017, for example, the Ethiopian government transformed its dump site into a waste to energy plant. Kenya has this company called Taka Taka that tackles this very issue, and South Africa try to use some sort of user-friendly smartphone application to deal with it. Take the concepts that work in other countries, right, and for a lack of a better term, dispose the models that don't work, right? We created an application that serves not only to get rid of trash, but is a strong foothold economy and creating jobs. Our solution basically is a Uber Eats like type of application, which is a two-sided marketplace. And what it does, basically, there are two components. We have the collectors, and we also have the clients or the people that want to dispose of their trash responsibly. The collector would come, pick up the items, pick up the trash, and take it from point A to point B at a pre-described location. For them, there is an added benefit that they get paid, and anybody can sign up to work on this. And for the person who's giving out the trash or the business that's trying to get rid of their trash in a very responsible manner, there is an added benefit that they can collect points and then they can redeem those points later on by either transferring it into money or donating it through our application. And now Mahad will talk you through the process, the design, and the actual development that we had up until this point.
All right, so I'm trying to share my screen, but I cannot do it. It says you cannot share the screen. Okay, so I think I should be able. Somebody else is sharing it.
Yeah, so if you want, yeah,
Okay,
try again. Now, Mahad.
Yeah. Yep, I think I got it. So you can all see my screen, right?
Yes, Mahad.
Fantastic. So my name is Mahad. Thanks for everybody for being here. I'm gonna give us a quick, nice overview. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna show you the application that we created. But before I do that, I wanted to point something out. One, we started this, I think, Friday afternoon is when we had our first meeting. And then all of the things that we created were created from then up until now. So this is our application. It's called So Ururi. One thing that makes us different is that we actually have a Somali version and an English version. So when you click on the Somali version, you go to the next, and this is basically a menu. Everything here is in Somali. If you click on this one, this is supposed to be a quick overview of the organization, its mission, and its vision in Somali. And then this is the main cities in Somalia. So the idea is if you're a user, you click on a city, and then based on the city that you click on, you can choose where to grab your trash from. The next screen is actually a sign up. So if you do not have an account, this is where you sign up, and you can put in your name, your email, and your password. If you already have an account, you can log in. And then once you log in, this is the user profile. So here you have the user picture, the name, and the amount of waste that they have already recycled when they began recycling it. And then if you want, you can go ahead and schedule a pickup, or you can go into the reward center. The idea of the reward center is that if you are a user and you're consistently recycling your trash, you can actually get stars. And after a certain amount of stars, you can get either money back or you can get some kind of a prize. So this is the idea behind the rewards. And then if you want to schedule a pickup, you would come to this screen right here. And then on this screen, you'd be able to choose the type of waste that you're trying to get rid of today. So this is as far as we got for our application, which was built with React. We pretty much started this last night. And what I'm going to show you now is the design. So we had some amazing designers that actually laid out the whole application like this. And they did all this. This was an amazing job. I was watching it unfold. It was fantastic. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually turn over to the prototype, the Figma prototype. And I'm going to continue from this point. So this is the last screen that I showed you. And then let's say, for example, if you click on confirm pickup, your next screen is going to be a little map showing you how far the driver is and when the driver will be arriving. Then the next screen is going to be the amount of time that's left. And once your items get picked up, you're going to have an order summary, which is going to be a receipt that contains whatever it is that you're getting rid of, the weight and the amount of money that you paid for. So the interesting idea about all this is that we actually have a two-way system of incentivizing the user and the waste collector. So the user can actually gain the rewards, and that will convince them to be more engaged. And then the person who's collecting the waste, that's the person who, they actually do get paid. So I think that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna turn it over to Deborah now, so she can explain some of the other things.
So I'll be talking about our future plans for this solution. So in the future, we plan to collaborate with organizations that are currently on land so that we could deliver waste management solutions countrywide. So some of the few organizations that are dealing with waste management right now are the Turkish government, DHIS and Sebewenag. We also want to make it accessible to all people. But first we'll start off launching the app in like major cities, and then we'll work towards making it available in rural areas. And we hope to do this by getting government fundings and business partnerships as well, so that everyone could benefit from this. We'll also, when we dispose of the waste, we plan to reuse the waste sustainably. So in the app, you probably saw that there's a section for organic waste, there's one for recyclable waste, and one for like general waste. So for the organic waste, we'll be converting it into fertilizers, so it could be used for farming and agricultural purposes. And then for the recyclable plastic waste, we'll be using it for like construction materials, and also just the natural reusing purposes such as like plastic bottles and so forth. And lastly, just to summarize the advantages of our app and our solution is that we basically made it, we focused on accessibility. So we did a Somali, we did it in English and Somali so that people in Somali could actually understand it and use it. We've got a rewards monetization set up to encourage people to be involved in climate change and sustainability. And also that's it for us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Team 5. And that brings us to the conclusion of all the presenting. So now I'll share my slide, which will include a link to an online voting panel. So essentially, the way that the judging will be done is that there will be one kind of people's vote through Slido, and then there will also be a winner. This will be judged by Amal. So there might potentially be the same person, same group, or two separate groups. So I think Abshir has pasted the link in the chat. And if you're
before we get to the voting, I think Amal's gonna give us some feedback, inshallah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So So'ururi, you guys definitely win my favorite name, I think. So I think of So'ururi, So'duao, but it's trash. So maybe not So'duao. So I just wanted to say, first of all, really good job with branding. I think that's like a good name for SEO as well. It was very, very clear storytelling. It was very clear what the product did. Really great job, I think, on localization. You win. You realize that for that, right? Like that criteria, that's yours. only ones that did that. And then also I love your kind of Uber for trash. That's pretty cool. Hooking into also municipal services, like you wanted to hook into large scale organizations that are already on the ground that can kind of like be your pseudo municipal partners. Like, I think that was great. And also just, great job using your kind of Figma to kind of really create that full prototype, right? Like I couldn't even tell the difference between what was being served on localhost versus what was shown in Figma. So that's the way it's supposed to be. So really just excellent job to the dev team and the design team that like clearly collaborated very well. So I think my kind of, I had a question about incentives, but I think you guys have covered that. It's still a little fuzzy to me, like what the actual monetization is. And like, I think there's potentially some education that's missing for users around like trash separation and all those other things. Like you wanted to categorize like organic waste from plastic, from other stuff. Like, I think there's some work to do there. But I also think that there's potentially buckets or some things to actually give to your customers, to, I think, help make that easier and to help manage their trash separation. But yeah, overall, I think great job. And thanks so much.
Amazing. Over to you, Adam.
So yeah, as you can see before, as I skipped and I missed their feedback, but as I was saying, yeah, it's been really, really good. The presentation so far, like really impressive. Like what's been you've been able to achieve in less than 48 hours has been really amazing. So I'll share my slide now, which will include a link for some online voting. So there'll be one People's Choice winner, and then there'll also be a winner that's decided by Amal. So this potentially could be the same team or it could be a different team. So you should be able to use the link now in the chat. And so I'll probably give about 5 minutes for the people's vote. And in that time, it'll be good if each team could answer the question that Amal had posed to each of you about kind of what would you do if you had more time, or kind of the next steps on your project.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll start with team one.
Yeah, I was going to say if we can start with team one, that way people can remember. Because recency bias is a thing. I don't know if you guys know that. So we'll see how recency bias plays out. But yeah, let's start with team one.
Anyone from team one?
Yeah, team one was surplus, right? Someone from the surplus team want to tell us, like, if you guys had more time, what would you do?
Yeah, hi guys. Sorry, let me just turn my camera on. So we actually did look into what we would do. We had like a few things that, not bugs, but a few problem statements and stuff that we came up with while we were doing the hackathon. A big one would be doing more research. So looking into getting some actual studies and some actual research done with the people who we're targeting, like our target audiences, to sort of validate and challenge assumptions. We would also like to look into the security aspect, just making sure that the experience itself is secure. Because like one scenario that we came up with was when the person comes to collect, the produce, how do they know that they've met, that they're meeting the farmer that they intend to meet with? So looking into that and exploring solutions for that was something that we wanted to look into. And I think there were a few other things, but yeah, they're the ones I can currently think of.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I guess the team Gabe, what would you do if you had more time?
So thank you so much, Amal, for all the feedback. I would love to implement all the feedback that we got from you. Also, we had some insights in our slides before that we would love to do. For example, the backend integration to Stripe and the API for the carbon footprint, just to see like how it changes depending on the user. Also, we would love some type of representation. I know I showed the dashboard before, seeing how that changes. We would love to implement that, and also the payment installment. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jorge. I guess Team Shimbir, what would you guys do if you had more time?
Wait, I think like how you said about monetization and moderation to prevent spam, that's one thing. And one thing we also wanted to implement was a way to do translate the actual application into Somali. And another thing we wanted to implement was to make it more based on voice, like do like voice calling and stuff like that, because Somali is very like vocal, so we wanted to do something like that. So I think that from my perspective, that's what we wanted to add if we had more time. But what else does the team think?
Figure out a way around the fact that the low-tech solution costs more than the high-tech one. Like the high-tech one, it's just WebRTC. It's like you just create the connection and the cost is on them to maintain it. But low-tech, it's like you're paying for every person in the call and all the audio and all the text messages. So it's like we want to help those people more and try to come up with a protocol or something that could facilitate that. We ran into a nightmare with SMS because like text messages don't necessarily have to come in the same order. So just imagine trying to send like a JSON body through there and getting it back, and they compress images left and right, and validating the sender and stuff like that. We just coming up with a better low-tech solution, and investing more into that would have been worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Jamal and Havan. So who's next? I guess this is Team Somalia Trees.
I'm sure I can say. So like the feedback that Amal gave, I think that was really wonderful. If we had more time, I think the verification system for making that more intuitive, right? So also more designed. We got pretty hung up on functionality, but more designed would be great. And also building out the two-sided, right? So since it's also you need to manage the database of the trees, the people planting as well. So building that out, that component as well. Yeah. So that's what we would do. And just a quick point about the local tools. Yeah, everyone, please do check out Bubble. It is not a no code, it's low code. You could add your custom JavaScript. We've added some custom JavaScript as well. Then you can hook up all your different APIs. There's no limitations on the web. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for a hackathon, that was very, very smart. We are all pretty biased to like write our own. So I think that was like really cool. A good opportunity to try that. I think as an experienced engineer to try like a no code or low code solution is probably pretty fun. Thank you so much. So I guess the last was Soaruri. So whoa, this time, right? I can say that.
Definitely. So dhawaada.
Yeah.
Team 5.
Yes. Suad is supposed to. Suad, you there?
Audio issues from Saad.
Is that what's happening?
Yes, Saad's having audio issues.
All right. So I guess, Dero, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go for it.
So if we
had
more time, we would continue with the actual continuing coding because our teams were merged and we didn't have enough time. We would also focus more on getting the organizations to actually start using a bottom-up approach, doing more research into that so that more people know the difference between the different types of waste and so forth. And also how we would have I think we were thinking about doing a mapping as well, so an interactive map, but we didn't get to do that. But yeah, I think that's what we'd do.
Sorry guys, I was having audio issues, but just to expand on Dara's last point, in Somalia at the moment, locals seem to know the roads, not by street signs, but by memory. So yeah, just working out that mapping piece and working with the locals just to figure out collection points, and hopefully working with businesses to then sponsor collection within rural areas as well, not just custom houses. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amazing, amazing. I'm glad Saad was able to come in. Saad's a product manager, so I'm sure there was a long backlog of things. Saad was just like, no audio issues at this time. So really appreciate you coming in, and great to hear about that. The fact that you lot were focused on addressing as well the local distribution challenge, which is a big one. Amazing. Okay, cool. So we've heard from all the teams. We'll close the poll as well. Amal, you've come off mute. I was going to ask you, Amal, for you to share who you think is the well-deserving winner of the Somalis in Tech Climate Change Hackathon. Although all the teams have put in a big shift this weekend, I can attest to that, having been jumping from Slack group to Slack group within each team, and they've all done amazingly well, wallahi. So regardless, that hasn't gone amiss, and we'd love it as well for the potential. It's always difficult with a hackathon, with it being such a short time, but maybe now that you have a bit more time and it's quite clear that you all have things you'd like to have achieved, as Amal's question has highlighted, maybe after a little break, no more than 24 hours, you come together and decide if you want to action some of the things. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Amal to let us know who, from her perspective, is the winner. And then we'll share what the poll highlighted as well.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. So first of all, thank you to everyone for participating, for putting yourselves out there, for pushing yourselves, for growing, for taking time out of your precious weekends to, think outside the box and really, do something that I think is, collaborative and challenging and fun, right? So pat yourselves all on the back. You're all winners, like Mohammed said. I just want to say also special thank you to the organizers for putting this together. When I started out in this industry, I didn't really have this group, right? So just don't take it for granted, right? So it's not easy to community organize. I'm an organizer myself. It's a lot of work. And so great job, everyone. So in terms of my winners, I'm gonna announce the final winner, but I wanted to point out, I think categories that I think were best in class for me. So everyone's kind of a winner, to be honest. So first of all, surplus, I think for me, you win. It's kind of a tie with you and Gid for branding and mission. I think you guys picked a really good problem to solve. So you win on that. So congratulations to you too. Shimbir, I think y'all really, for me, win on demo and I think urgency and creativity, really creative problem that's important to solve. And I really loved your demo and everything came together, which was great. So Aurori, just a really good job of, I think, thinking of the end-to-end solution, the two-sided marketplace. You guys did a really phenomenal job of organizing your ideas and telling a story and really thinking about all aspects of the rollout. So no surprise there's a product manager on your team. And so congratulations. And so with that, it leaves Somalia Trees, which is my winner. For me, they really were overall best in class, I think, in terms of mission, in terms of research, in terms of thinking about network effects and piggybacking onto existing movements that are that have momentum, and also in terms of actually monetizing their product. So I think for me, they're the winner for me. But like I said, you all are winners, and I'm eager to hear what the what the team, what the audience thinks as well. So.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well done to team for and all the teams, mashallah. Like, I love Amal how you brought out different things. Definitely each team did different things amazingly well. So we love that. The Amal's winning team is of course team 4, and I think a lot of the feedback and a lot of people have been watching, and with the poll went out to Twitter. I just want to confirm, and YouTube, the people who are watching, and if I'm not mistaken, we had a total of 114 votes so far. So the winning team is Somalia Trees. So yeah, everyone's been tuning in. Amal's everything that Amal was saying, I guess, has hit home. And yeah, 114 people plus the esteemed Amal voted for Somalia Trees. So amazing to you, team. We'd love to hear from you. You've heard enough of me babbling throughout. So yeah, a few of you, each of you, please say a little something. Of course, amazing the other teams, but Somalia Trees, you're out here winning with your fully functional site. So please, maybe Abdurrazzaq, you start. We'd love to hear from each member of the team about your experience as well and working together.
Okay, thank you. I would be much happier, but most of the work was done by the rest of the team, Zakaria, Salma, Mohammed, and Abdul Majid. It was really good because it was a great collaboration. It was nice to see how other people want to solve issues in Somalia and how like passionate people are, and it's also nice to see other Somalis that are winning, I guess. Yeah, and it was a pleasure to be a part of this, and I'll be back next time if there is one. I'll pass it over to Zakaria or someone in our team.
So Alhamdulillah, thank you for everyone who voted for us and everyone else who didn't vote for us and everyone who participated. Thank you, all of you. And first of all, I really liked the theme of this hackathon, climate change, which is something that's affecting every one of us, whether you are in Africa or whether you are in other countries. So that was a great topic. And second, it was really challenging. I have to admit that, but I really learned a lot of it. For example, purple, how to create design, a good design, how to make a project, how to put it together and present it, how to persuade people, how to make a great presentation. Thanks for the team for the past and guests they brought us, and we learned a lot from them. Thanks, and I hope we will make it even bigger and make it a reality, inshallah.
Inshallah. Anyone else from team 5? From team 4?
Sure. No. Yeah. It was very great to participate in the hackathon and actually hearing from the community. I think it shows that people are excited and want to participate in this. I think the biggest selling point for me would be the Sadaqa Jariyah. Anybody that rests under the tree that you plant will be you will receive reward. You can dedicate this to any loved ones that have passed, and most of the concept came up with we fundraise for a lot of things, and I think committing and supporting this type of issue, it does have a lot of impact, and if you're really passionate about making an impact, making a difference in specifically speaking to Somali people, I think supporting a project like this can really make that happen. And we are a very well qualified team, and some of us have even worked on products and services used by billions of people. So yeah, feel free to we'll put in a chat if anybody wants to contact. So feel free to collaborate and network with us. thank you guys so much. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very, very much to Team 4. But honestly, like, this would have been nothing without all you people out here putting in your shift. Everything that I've been seeing the whole weekend from everybody that was here, wallahi, it was nothing but dedication, commitment. There was a lot of banter shared. AP kept us going with all the gifts, so honestly, it's been an amazing weekend. I'm sure everyone could do with a rest. We definitely can as well. I want to shout out to also the team itself, Adam, who have you seen, Idil, Abshir, Faiza. This was like the main bulk of the team that put in a shift as well. I might have been missing other people out as well. Yeah, as Amal said, these things are like really, really good. I would have loved to have had this coming up as well. So the fact that it is something that Somalis in Tech are able to provide, like, I'm honestly quite chuffed about. It's the second time we're doing a hackathon, so hopefully more to come. And I will be that annoying guy and say, I have sent a feedback form in the Slack. People who took part, please do fill it out. It's the last thing I'm going to ask you. We've all put in a shift, but inshallah, we want to make sure it's better next year. So be honest with some of the feedback that you think would make it better. I've had some already, one-to-one people have suggested a few things. So please fill it in so we can make sure it's better. And I'll hand over to Amal for any closing words, anything else you'd like to say.
Thank you so much. I'll give you some feedback, which is next year, and I would be happy, to also get some other panelists together that are Somalis with, that are more senior in tech. And but I think it would be helpful to actually meet with the teams like during the hackathon, to when they are pitching, check in like a few times if they need anything. I think it really goes a long way, I think, to get some advice before you pitch, and before you present. So, I'd be happy to volunteer for that, just FYI. And really my closing thoughts are, again, just keep it up. Really feel free to reach out to me. My DMs are open on Twitter. I'm also on, I joined the Slack, so you should reach out to me there. Let me know if there's anything that I can do to continue to be an advisor or help you or connect you with any people. And then I would say, this is the first Somali event that I've gone to that started on time, that's stayed on schedule. So congratulations to us. We are breaking the mold.
Amazing. I can't make sure. I think we've got 3 minutes left. So to stick to that, and just the final things, you can follow us on Twitter, Somalis in Tech. But if you want to be involved, join our Slack. If you go on somalis.com/Slack, you should find a link to join the community. There's lots of happening. People are sharing jobs. We're doing internal events. We want to do more. Let us know what you want and we will try to make it happen. And there's a mentoring scheme opening up as well. So you can, a lot of the junior people in the community can benefit from hearing some of the wisdom from others. So on that note, I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated again. Appreciate that, much love. And I'd like to thank Amal again for taking part. And Amal, we will definitely take you up on that. Next year, we'll have you involved, hopefully a little earlier as well. And would love to have your wisdom with hopefully shared by a few other panelists too. So that's already some good feedback to take.
That sounds excellent, thank you. As long as I get to be Simon on the panel, we're in good shape.
Absolutely, say no more. We'll find you Lewis and another person as well. So yeah, it's all good. Cool. All right, then we'll end it there. If we could